Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show.
Let's see if I can do this in time
As
before you switch the camera. And bang.
That was a pretty picture of the Great Wall of China.
Hi.
Now it is
Welcome
not.
into the pre-show for the free show with a lot of headroom.
You just got shorter.
I did.
The camera did not move.
I'm getting old.
This is true.
I have a lot of things to tell you from the weekend, none of which are interesting, but I have a lot of things to tell you. It was a dual birthday party weekend it was a big weekend for Hank.
Okay.
2 birthday parties to go to, one of which was the party of Apollo and Theo Armstrong.
Oh, nice.
Who are the oldest 2 sons of WTF's own Jessica Armstrong and her husband.
Their cakes ruled. I saw the cakes that they got, like a Mario cake and something else, like a fire truck or something.
They're cool kids.
Yeah.
They're cool kids. I mean, they have cool parents, so that makes sense. So we went there. It was at a park. This was Saturday afternoon. It was at a park. And there were some of our friends from Bally there. Paige Schnorbach was there. I got to see her. Jordan Bettinger, producer extraordinaire, was there. As well as Lauren Callender, the face of the stars. She was there with her adorable young boys and her husband, Steven, who I met. He was a very nice guy.
Yeah,
we were chatting. Nice. And, you know, Hank is now at the point he's almost 4.5, where it's like he's got some autonomy. He's got, like, I just need to have a 20 on you. I need to know where you are at all times. But, like, other than that, I'm not going to lord over you. Whatever. Especially playground, whatever. So I'm talking with our friends from Bally, and Hank's running around. And I kind of lose sight of him for a minute. I'm like, you do that thing where, like, where's my kid? Where's my kid? You know, you're looking for him, stuff like that. And that's when, I believe it was Lauren, goes, oh, he's over there. And I look over, And what is my son doing?
Is he reading?
My son is reading the rules of the playground.
Oh my god!
Like the big placards got like the rules.
Oh,
he's standing there just going like,
no.
So, he's doomed.
Yeah, you need to.
He's doomed to a life of probably making a lot of money.
Yeah.
And being a big dork.
Yeah, I feel like can Mallory and I like take him to Chuck E. Cheese and like show him?
He loves. That's the thing. He loves like, Chuck E. Cheese. He loves playing and stuff. He just also likes reading more. Like, it's just, I don't know.
Reading the rules at the playground at a birthday party is all-time bad. I love Hank to death, but we gotta have a talk.
It's tough. It was tough. I told my wife that.
This is cracks knuckles. This is when Aunt Pickle really, I earned my keep.
I told my wife that, and she was like, that makes sense.
Oh, man.
So then we go to another birthday party on...
Which I hope you know real fast means that Max is going to be an absolute terror. Like, he's going to be...
He already is.
Yeah, like, because Hank is going to be the angel, and Max is going to make you want to pull your hair out.
This weekend, Max was on one, and I started calling him JB, which is short for Jungle Boy. He's on one.
Yeah, I was going to say, you are about to have your hands full with the second one because Hank is reading playground rules.
So then Sunday, we went to another birthday party, and this was at like a gymnastics place.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's popular nowadays.
Trampolines, and it had like big foam pits. Did they have that when we were kids and I just wasn't invited to parties?
We had birthday parties. I've been to birthday parties at a gymnastics thing. I don't think I've ever seen a foam pit in there. But
it looked awesome. Like Hank loved it.
I've jumped it. Yeah.
Hank was like.
So you're talking about foam pits in general?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
I've never done that.
Yeah.
Like the big blocks of foam and stuff.
Yeah. No, we there was a altitude trampoline park in Denton when I was in college, and so we'd go in there and just have a heyday jumping in foam pits.
This place was cool, and I just was and Max got to crawl around and run around and stuff like that, and he was having a good time. It did look awesome, and my wife's like, yeah, I was at gymnastics parties, but I think they were like, I think it was more of a girl thing.
Yeah.
And like,
oh yeah,
I was one of 3 boys, so like we never did gymnastics parties. I mean, I've said this before. Me and my brother are both June birthdays, so we just had pool parties every year forever until we could drink. And so
that's even more reason to have a pool party.
But it was cool. It was cool. And like Hank, who was like, again, a little bit of a scaredy cat sometimes, but like was just like all into it. He was like, I'm just running and stuff like that. It was a cool bit.
Nice. So
then like we go to this party. It was like a late afternoon party. So Hank had pizza and stuff like that, and we brought some stuff for Max, and so they both ate. But then we kind of realized, my wife and I realized, oh, we didn't eat. So I was like, I'll go pick something up. So I get on my app to not a sponsor. I get on the app and I order burrito bowls from a large corporate burrito place. Just order some burrito bowls. I do the thing where app and then I'll go pick it up because I'm not paying to have that delivered. It's like $15 to have it delivered. I'm not doing that. So, and they're pretty quick with it. And so like 10 minutes later, I get the alert. They're like, it's ready. I'm already on my way. I go and I get there. And it's about 10 minutes after like they've sent me the alert. And I walk in. They've got the big shelf with all the orders, and mine's not there. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, maybe it was misfire, stuff like that. I'll wait like 5 more minutes and it doesn't come out. I kind of go to the guy. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for this order. To hold my phone, like for Greg. He's like, oh, okay, hold on. He goes to the back and gets some other guy who's like his same age. So I don't think it's like a manager, or maybe I don't know. And he goes, and just very quickly, he just goes, oh, your order was stolen. And I'm like,
cool.
What? Like, how do you know? But he was super confident.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, oh, yeah, I've seen this before. Your order was stolen. And I'm like, oh. And he's like, no big deal. I'll go make another one for you. I'm like, great, cool. It still cost me, 150 seconds. Bless you.
Thank you.
150 seconds. Of my
I was going to say, if there's a place to have your order stolen, it's that one because it's very easy to serve that up quickly.
So it's like I'm of two minds. One, I don't care. Like I really don't. It costs me 3 minutes of my day, and it's like that's a small price to pay. And also, if you see somebody stealing food, no, you didn't, because they obviously need it, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got no. I'm not here to not here to legalize theft, but what I am saying is like if somebody's stealing food, you have to assume they'd have a good reason for it. And yet, Pickle, here's my one caveat to this. You know where I live.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say I live in like a nicer suburb?
Yeah.
If you're stealing my food because you need it, because you're starving, buddy, it's yours. I mean that. I'm not mad. But I don't know if that's the situation at this particular
Yeah, I was
place.
going to say, I think that there is a possibility. Anytime I've seen or come across that, I've always wondered, because, like, Greg is a normal kind of popular name, and, like, so is Ashley. So if that ever happens, I'm always kind of like, oh, maybe my order came out and it said Ashley, and there was another Ashley there, and she grabbed it or he grabbed it, and then
But here's the
went
thing,
to
there
leave,
wasn't
you know?
another Greg out there.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
I was
the
going to say, it would be different if you
There's
got
like
a Greg and then you opened it up and was like, this is not what I ordered.
If there was a misfire. This was very clearly like, he's right. It was stolen.
Stolen, yeah. That sucks.
And again, I'm not mad about it because it's like the large corporation's wearing it, not me.
Yeah.
You know? And like, cool. And if you need the food, again, go for it. But I was just like, I think what I've settled on is the kids are bored.
Yeah.
The kids are bored. This was a high school kid.
That would make sense.
I don't want to paint with a broad brush, but as a high school kid, as a former high school boy, that's 100% the kind of thing I would do.
Yeah.
And so that's what, I mean, we ended up getting our food and it was all good, but like it's the first time I've ever encountered that. Because
I've always thought, ever since they started doing the pickup things like that, I was like, I wonder how often this gets messed up. And I've never seen it, but I was like, I feel like it would be more often than not that someone grabs the wrong one, your kid starts screaming, you pick up the bag you think is yours, and you go, and it's like, oh, well.
So it strikes me that, because my wife picked up dinner on the way home like last Friday or something like that. And same thing, order ahead, go in, grab it. And she said, "Oh, I left my phone and my wallet in the car. Like, do you need to check ID or anything like that?" Because she didn't pick it up, and the guy was like, "No."
Well, that's the Starbucks. Like Starbucks does that too. We don't have a coffee sponsor, but Starbucks does that when you order the mobile app. They just put it out there, and it's like you don't
order
have
for
to.
Ashley.
Yeah,
it's like grab it,
and you don't have to. Well, and I mean even more than that, like the one that I go to over here if I'm picking up drinks for anybody is I walk in and like I just grab mine and go. They do not check my order, anything like that.
But it strikes me. My guess is that some egghead has crunched the numbers, and they've said it will cost us more money to enforce it than it will to just make it.
Yep.
Again, like for the 5% that gets stolen or something like that.
Well, and if your baristas or your employees are having to sit there and waste their time checking that thing,
right?
It's
That's,
easier
to
just
me,
to
done. Someone has done a study and they've figured out it's just more efficient to deal with the X% theft than with that.
Because then people are you're waiting for people to fumble with their IDs or the app or the this or the that.
I left it in the car. I got to run. Exactly. It's just not worth it. So, anyway, I hope they enjoyed my burrito bowl. I really do. I hope they were hungry. Like I hope they were. I hope they were hungry. I hope they needed that, and I hope that they went to some good. It wasn't just some hooligan who was just going to take it and throw it in the trash. Yeah, at least eat it. That's my only rule. At least if you're going to steal my food, at least eat it. Anyway, hit the theme expo. Pickle. Hit the air sign. Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it's Texas Football Today, a program back from the weekend. My name's Greg Tupper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live, TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all the places, or listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting in this chair, sitting over there in that chair, making us sound good. She is the Duchess of the Dorks. She's Miss 305. She's Ashley Pickle.
Hi, friends.
Did you have a good weekend?
I read magazine pages all weekend.
Big same. Today is Monday, May 22nd, 2023. 185 days to Thanksgiving. You got my text this morning, right?
Yes, correct.
Our turkey place is having a sale.
Yeah, that's big time.
Might F around and
I was
buy a
gonna
turkey.
say, yeah, I don't know if I'll get a turkey, but they have like a bunch of other meats that would be great on the grill for Memorial Day. Might mess around.
Happy birthday to Julian Edelman. Turns 37 today.
Nice.
It's episode 1596. You know what? Wait.
What?
Friday is 1600.
Oh, wow. And guess who will be here to celebrate
Matthew Stepp.
it? Matthew.
How about that?
He calls me the other day and he goes, my wife is really confused about why you call me Matthew. And I was like, well, I feel like most of the time when I'm talking to you, you're in trouble. So
Yeah, that's a great point.
And he said fair.
On today's show, folks, we've got headlines from across state, including 7-on-7 is heating up, and there are some still, believe it or not, late May, major coaching changes, including a repeat offender. I'll get into that. And then back half of the show, Matt Stepp was out to boot at the 7-on-7 tournaments this weekend. One of the guys he caught up with was the head coach of the Fort Bend Hightower Hurricanes, Coach Cornelius Anthony. We will hear from him coming up here at the back half of the program. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Zill 0678.
Yeah.
Willie. I don't know how to say Willie's last name. Lossitol, I believe.
Say
Hi, Willie.
Just Willie.
Yeah. California barbecue over Texas barbecue. Correct. And Coach.
Wait. What?
Wait, no. Wait. Incorrect. California barbecue over Texas barbecue. No. Go and get. And Coach Terry Crawford.
Oh, I'm real mad now.
Yeah, this ain't California football today.
On a Monday?
Yeah,
you're gonna come with that heat on a Monday?
Literally woke up and chose violence.
I'm in a bad mood now. I'm gonna have to calm myself down with some nice headlines from across the state. Let's start with a few different things to get to. One is probably the biggest news out of the college football world, and it's something we had kind of heard rumblings of, but finally became official yesterday, and that is that Jordan Hudson, the former TCU wide receiver and a big-time prospect from the class of 2022, has transferred and announced that he has transferred to SMU. He's going across. He's doing the reverse Sonny Dykes.
Correct.
Going from TCU to SMU. It really completes the trade, right? It was Sonny Dykes for a player to be named later. The player to be named later is just Jordan Hudson. I made that up. But this is a big get here for Rhett Lashley and company. Jordan Hudson was the real jewel of the TCU recruiting class back in 2022. He was the number 17 prospect in all of Texas, according to Dave Campbell's Texas Football Rising. He was a big-time four-star guy. He had his senior year there at Garland. He was really impressive. 67 catches, nearly 1,200 yards, and 22 touchdowns. He was the best freshman on TCU last year. He did have 2 touchdown catches in their big win over Iowa State to close out the regular season. But Jordan Hudson is now going across the Metroplex to transfer from TCU to SMU. Now, it is worth mentioning that at one point, Jordan Hudson was an SMU commit. He was an SMU commit at one point during his process before he decommitted and committed to TCU. So following Sonny Dykes, basically.
Yeah.
But after 1 year there at TCU, he is committed back to the Ponies. He is going to be on SMU this upcoming season. So big news there out of the college football ranks. Elsewhere in the college football ranks, if this is your kind of thing, if you are filling out your planner, and I know you are, you're a big planner gal.
I am, and I get made fun of for that.
There's nothing wrong with planner.
I don't know. I feel like I remember stuff better if I write it down.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm on my phone all the time. I don't want to be looking at my calendar on my phone.
What are you doing September 9th?
Are you about to tell me what I'm doing September 9th?
Well, specifically, I'm going to tell you the game time for Texas and Alabama because that was announced this past week.
Yeah, Willie's going.
Yeah, Texas is visiting Alabama in Tuscaloosa. It was set for 6 p.m. under the lights in Tuscaloosa as the Texas Longhorns will take on Alabama. They're a 6 o'clock kick. It'll almost certainly, barring something extremely unforeseen, be at least a top 25 matchup there. And you remember Texas gave Alabama everything they wanted in Austin. Now it's the return trip to Tuscaloosa. It will be very interesting. Carter Yates, our college football writer, writes that it is particularly interesting because Alabama does appear relatively vulnerable. We don't really know who their quarterback's going to be right now.
They lost 2 games last year,
and Texas is looking like a team that can probably the favorite to win the Big 12.
Yeah.
So big game there in non-district or non-conference play, I should say, as Alabama and Texas will.
That could be a huge staple for if Texas was able to pull that out. I mean,
sure.
Just before going to the SEC and all of that, that would be going in the right direction.
Corey Hogue, our weekly visit to Corey Hogue's writing sphere.
Yes.
He's got a lot going on.
That's actually trending on Twitter right now.
Corey Hogue, by the way, he's got some news there in the Blitz. I highly recommend going and reading the Blitz because there was big news out of the American Southwest Conference last week, and it was broken by our own Corey Hogue. And he's really, I'm not trying to blow smoke up his rear end, but Corey is basically like shaping the dialogue in the Division III football world right now.
Yeah.
And a big part of it is that there is the American Southwest Conference on Monday lost 2 teams. Concordia University and University of the Ozarks starting in July 2024. CTX and Ozarks, those are big losses for the American Southwest Conference. You may remember that, so in 2024, as it stands right now, the American Southwest Conference will have 6 teams as it stands right now. Mary Hardin-Baylor, Hardin-Simmons, East Texas Baptist, and Howard Payne, plus LeTourneau and UT Dallas. UT Dallas is a real wild card right now. But basically, this throws the whole viability of the American Southwest Conference into flux because we don't really know. Now, one of the things that he dives into in the Blitz about this is, like all things, this has to do with religion. So you may remember Mary Hardin-Baylor, Hardin-Simmons, East Texas Baptist, and Howard Payne, all Baptist universities. They're called the Baptist Four. One of the reasons is that that they said that there could let me just read. I'm sorry. Take 2.
That was a colossal meltdown.
That was great. Scatterbrained.
Tweeting that.
I haven't slept a ton. Take 2. In 3, 2. So if you take a look at the ideological split between these teams, right? 5 of the teams, so the Concordia and the 2 teams that are leaving the ASC, Concordia and University of the Ozarks, they are leaving for the SCAC, which is the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference. You with me so far? And by joining them, they are now going to be, they're Presbyterian. They're moving over to which is going to allow them a little bit more versatility, specifically with selling alcoholic games. The Baptist teams, this is sources telling Corey Hogue, the Baptist schools don't want to allow alcohol to be sold at games.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can even say, like, we went to a Baylor game this past year, and it was like, we got there and we're like, oh, there's definitely not going to be beer inside.
No. They have certain values that they want to uphold. This is not a judgment call one way or the other.
No.
I'm just telling you that that's kind
there's
of
the reasoning. That is crazy that, like, it does boil down to that.
Yes. So the ASC is really in flux right now, so keep an eye on that. And Corey Hogue, of course, still kind of shaping the dialogue there. Another piece by Corey Hogue up on TexasFootball.com talking about exhibition games for non-FBS teams. So Hugh Freeze, who sucks, but Hugh Freeze is the coach at Auburn. And again, just can't stress enough how much Hugh Freeze sucks. But Hugh Freeze had an idea that germinated in his mind grapes a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, I hate that.
In which he said that he wants that instead of doing spring games, he says that teams should have they could have exhibition games. Specifically, that like Auburn could play some other team, like maybe an FCS team or something like that. And so Corey went and talked with a number of non-FBS teams and said, hey, what would you think about having an exhibition instead of a spring game? Specifically that there would be a little bit more intensity, Hugh Freeze, again, who sucks, said that there could be a number of you could raise money for charity and things like that.
Yeah.
That is the kind of idea. The story is really interesting to hear these takes from these coaches about that they're basically split on the idea.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of those ideas that sounds great until you think about it for 5 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple things that go. I haven't read the piece. I need to go read it. But there's multiple things. One, are the FCS teams going to be getting paid to do this?
Bingo.
If so, that's huge for them. But I don't think any university is going to want to shell out extra money so that you can go play an exhibition game. And then, two, that seems really bad for injury purposes.
Let me just tell you something. First of all, it could be bad for injury purposes. The other thing about it, if I'm FCS school, A&M Commerce,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm Commerce and Texas wants to play me,
That's great. Pay me. Yeah.
where's my check?
Exactly.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to. You want to have an exhibition? 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. That'll be $250,000, please.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no way that any sort of university athletic
They're not gonna
director,
do that.
you're not going to be.
For when you could just play each other.
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's no way that would ever work.
It just, it was
You're
one
not
of those
shelling
ideas,
out $250,000
It's one
for
of those
that.
ideas that pops up in the off season, so it gets a little bit of traction
Mm-hmm.
because there's nothing else to talk about. And it's one of those things that, again, sounds good until you think about it for a little bit more than 5 seconds. And then it turns out that it's a bad idea from a guy who, again, can't stress enough sucks.
Yeah, there would be every other sport, men's or women's, would be so upset if they knew that money was going out for an exhibition game rather than, I don't know, new uniforms for the golf team. You know, like
scholarships.
Yeah, facility upgrades.
A lot of things you can do besides forking out more money for a pay that doesn't even count and doesn't get you towards a bowl game.
No.
I don't know. To high school we go. There was some big movement in the high school football coaching ranks last week, and one of them is a repeat offender. So Crosby, you may remember, has been open. Jerry Prieto stepped down after 4 seasons, 4 very successful seasons. It was a pretty surprising move there. While they have made a hire, Crosby has hired Joe Willis, the head coach of Tyler Legacy, to be their next head coach. He is a state champion head coach, leading Cedar Park to a state championship. And he's a repeat offender of this. Now, he's free to change jobs whenever he wants, of course. But I will take you back. Let me make sure I get the year right, because this happened. So for those who don't know, we are presently, I believe, we're 4 days away from sending this magazine to press.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're getting ready to get this.
Oh, did he do this? Okay. Yep. Yeah, I know exactly where this is going.
2015, we're getting ready to send this magazine to press.
Mm-hmm.
And we catch wind that Joe Willis might be leaving Cedar Park to go to Colleyville Heritage. Now, Cedar Park, I believe, was either number 1 or number 2 in our ranking.
Oh, yeah, that was...
They were cooking with Crisco. They're coming off of a state championship game appearance.
Mm-hmm.
They're state runners-up the year before. And 2 years prior to that, they'd won the state championship.
And they had a good roster returning,
Really
too.
good. So we catch wind. And this is the day we're sending to press. And so I have to, text Joe Willis. I'm like, Coach, I can keep it quiet, but, I'm hearing these things. We're sending the magazine to press. You got to let me know. Now, to Joe Willis's credit, he did text me back, and he said, yes, it's true, but please don't tell anybody until, I think, Monday they were announcing it.
Yeah.
Right? We were sending
It was
press
like,
on
oh,
Thursday or
that's
Friday.
fine. No
Cool,
one
just
sees
don't-
this magazine for
it prints for
3
weeks.
weeks.
But he is a repeat offender for the late coaching game. Got my eye on you, Joe.
You need to text him and say
like-
something like, thanks for getting us
Not
in,
again, dude. Anyway, so Crosby
Thanks
is
for
the new
making
head
it a
coach.
week earlier this
Crosby's
year.
the new head coach. Big splashy hire there. Crosby. The next head coach is Joe Willis. He has been hired. Sherman has made a hire. Josh Ailman is going to be the next head coach at Sherman. He was a former Texas Tech standout. He is a Sherman grad, and he was the offensive coordinator for Denton Braswell last season. He was going to join the staff at Prosper Rock Hill after the coaching change at Braswell, but now he's going to be the next head coach at Sherman. He was head coach at SNS Consolidated for 3 seasons, and actually did a nice little turnaround there for the Rams. Went from 1-9 to 6-5, and got them their first playoff victory since 2014 back there in 2020. He is a Sherman grad. Jeff Cordell, the Sherman ISD athletic director, announced this hire. Big doings there. He is he of course played at Texas Tech, but Sherman has their next head coach. It'll be Josh Ailman. Elsewhere, Boys Ranch has their next head coach. Lewis Kelly III is going to be the next head coach at Boys Ranch. He is actually the grandson of legendary head coach Lewis Kelly. Lewis Kelly is the member of a THSAA Hall of Honor. He was 240, 90, and 1 at Lubbock Dunbar and Lubbock Estacado over 30 seasons. He is a mainstay in the Lubbock area. But Boys Ranch is looking for was looking for a head coach because Aaron Wampler, who of course did unbelievable work there at Boys Ranch, went to take the job at Clarendon. They've hired Lubbock Coronado running backs coach Lewis Kelly III to be their next head coach. And finally, there was 7-on-7 this weekend, Pickle. Did you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about this? There were 7-on-7 across the state, and we have some new teams that will be joining us in College Station in late June. At the Cy-Fair West SQT, Cy Falls and Fort Bend Hightower, whose coach we're about to hear from, both qualified. In the Allen SQT, Sherman and Arlington Lamar both qualified. Arlington Lamar is like the most successful 7-on-7 program in the state, so it is not a surprise. I want to say this is like their 25th straight year qualifying. It's like insane. They're really good at it. And so Arlington Lamar and Sherman both there. Lake Travis SQT, the homesteading Lake Travis Cavaliers, and San Marcos are both qualified for the state's 7-on-7 tournament in College Station. They're at Grand Oaks and Conroe, the Woodlands College Park and College Station. I caught wind. I think it was it Powers in the Slack? He was saying that Arrington Maiden at College Station was slinging it.
Yeah, it was Powers.
Step. It was either Powers or Step. They were slinging it.
I think it was
at the El Paso SQT, it will be El Paso Eastwood and El Paso Eastlake who have both qualified for the state's 7-on-7 tournament. So Eastwood and Eastlake both going to make the trip to College Station. In Division 2, Hampshire, Fannett, and Hitchcock both qualified for the state 7-on-7 tournament. At the Hitchcock SQT, the Anna state qualifying tournament, Sunnyvale and Frisco Panther Creek qualified for state 7-on-7.
How about that? This is their first year of that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then out in East Texas, Chapel Hill SQT, it was Sulphur Springs and Carthage both qualified. So we'll get to see Scott Surratt be real mad he can't call plays. It's always my favorite thing. Seeing coaches who are, especially play callers, like Surratt, who are just sitting there just like gritting their teeth.
Oh, I hope Miss Summer is there. She was there last year.
I'm sure she'll be there. In Ponder SQT, it was Graham and Springtown qualified for the state 7-on-7 tournament. Columbia SQT, it was San Antonio Davenport, I believe, and Cameron Yo both qualified for the state 7-on-7 tournament. And Needville and Stafford qualified for the state 7-on-7 tournament. And then down in Division 3, you can expect to see Tioga and Jacksboro. Plus at Stanford SQT, it was Hawley, defending 2A Division I state champions, and Merkel. And then Brazos SQT, Lexington and East Bernard qualified for state 7-on-7. Of course, we will have complete coverage of state 7-on-7 on TexasFootball.com, so go check that out. We are at Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Hope you'll go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe to become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber. Get your 2023 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the cover of which will be revealed 2 weeks from right now. Go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe to become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber and get your magazine mailed to you before it hits newsstands. TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Now, a word from our friends.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texans love doing business with fellow Texans. VCR Now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855
Go VCR Now. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR Now.
The Gambling Gauchos are a Texas Tech podcast serving you money lines, memes, and matador content on Twitter, YouTube, and StakeInThePlains.com.
Well, let's put it this way. They pay me off in tortillas, I'm going to shoot them right in the eye.
If you're looking for more Big 12 sports content from a host who wants a 25 tacos in 20 minutes and another that can provide a taco bites per minute analytical breakdown of the feed, then Rob and Kyle are the hosts for you. New episodes every Sunday and Thursday on the Republic of Football podcast feed.
The 83rd KitchenAid Senior PGA Championship, the most historic and prestigious event in senior golf, kicks off an unprecedented run of major championships coming to PGA Frisco over the next 11 years. From May 24th to May 28th, join us as the best golfers over the age of 50 compete to have their name etched on the Alfred S. Bourne Trophy. Past senior PGA champions have included true legends of the game like Sarazen, Snead, Palmer, Nicklaus, Player, and Watson. A limited number of hospitality, pro-am, and ticket opportunities remain available for you to be a part of the first major championship at PGA Frisco. And keep in mind, corporate clients and ticket purchasers at this May's KitchenAid Senior PGA Championship will receive priority access to offerings at future major championships held at PGA Frisco, including the 2025 KPMG Women's PGA Championship and the 2027 PGA Championship. Visit srpga.com for more information. Pickle, 7-on-7 state qualifying tournaments going on across the state, which gives us an opportunity to
stall a little bit while I
chill and
input
tell you
this
about
interview that I forgot to put in there.
All of the things that are going on in the world. We're finishing.
I don't know.
Magazine.
I was gonna say I don't know if you told people when they have to subscribe by.
Yeah, end of the month. So like this week, if you subscribe this week, you'll get your magazine before its newsstands. That I'm confident of. Next week,
you're starting to push the limit a little bit.
Next week, I don't want to lie to you. Next week, I also think you're good, but I can't
guarantee it.
The week after that, we might have some trouble. So just subscribe today. TexasFootball.com/subscribe. And when you subscribe, you'll get the 2023 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football mailed to you before its newsstands. And in that magazine will be a preview of the 2023 Fort Bend Hightower Hurricanes and their head coach, Cornelius Anthony, who Matt Stepp caught up with this week. Here's Matt Stepp's conversation with Hightower head coach Cornelius Anthony on Texas Football.
Matt Stepp, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, back here at the Cy-Fair West 7-on-7 qualifier. We're here before the state qualifying round with the head coach of the Hightower Hurricanes, Coach Cornelius Anthony. Coach, kids are about to play for a spot at state, and I appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with us.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
All right, Coach, coming off last year, you guys, first year you're back in 6A, you make the regional semifinals, have a great run. Got a lot of guys, key contributors back from that ball club, so expectations are high going into the season. During the off season, I'm sure you guys have talked about it with your kids. How do you handle success? How do you handle having that expectation and target on your back? How do you feel like your kids have handled that the off season? Do you feel like it's been a productive off season?
It's been a very productive off season. The main thing that we've been focusing on is just being a part of that elite 1%, not being regular, doing everything in excellence. That's what it takes to be elite. And so from everything that we do, we're practicing excellence because we know that excellence is a habit. It's something that you repeatedly do, and everything that we do, we tell them we evaluate. And so this offseason has been extremely productive. Our guys have answered the call, and so mainly moving forward, it's just correcting and being mindful of the little things and making sure that in everything that we do it to the best of our ability with class and character.
Is it the little things that makes the difference between those good teams and those elite teams? It's the details, right?
Most definitely. It is the details. Small things that make a huge difference. That's something that they hear me saying each and every day, from how we clap, from how we warm up, from how we line up. Small things that make a huge difference. So paying attention to the details and just making sure that on the details that we do everything the way the play or whatever dictates it, that's what our focus is on. So.
All right, now, it's 7-on-7, and we know the big guys aren't out there, the pads aren't on, but it's still competitive. You want to win, and you guys did really well in 7-on-7 last year, and that kind of propelled y'all into the season. So when you're watching your kids play 7-on-7, what do you look for from your kids? What do you want to see out of your guys?
I want to see them competing at a high level. I want to see them competing at a high level, but also keeping their composure, because there's a lot of jaw-jacking, as you know.
Oh, yeah. It gets chesty out there. It gets chippy.
It gets extremely chesty, but the team that can keep their head and the team that can focus on the details and execute even when it gets chesty and just make sure that their plan does the speaking for them, that's what I'm looking for. Compete at a high level, maintain your composure, and make sure that your play does the talking for you.
And I'm thinking you're also looking at how guys react to failure. I mean, it's easy to be a front runner and have success, but I'm sure you could, from your vantage point in the end zone, not coaching because it's against UIL rules, but you can see if when things aren't going well, who's stepping up and being leaders, and maybe who's chirping at their own teammates, and those are things you can correct later on, right?
Most definitely. I want to see, how do we handle adversity? Do we learn the lesson, or do we fold the tent and want to give up? If we're down because of 7-on-7, no lead is safe. So are we fighting and clawing and scratching to get back into it? Or even if we're up, or we're doing everything right because we're up and we know that the team can come back, or do we get lax? So those are the small intangible things that make a huge difference that I'm paying attention to, that I'm telling my guys and correcting my guys on when we get back to Hightower.
All right, now looking at 2023's ball club, obviously, again, you guys had a lot of success last year. When we look at your ball club in 2023, what are some areas where you feel like you guys have a good foundation, you're going to be strong, and maybe some areas where I don't want to call them weaknesses, but maybe some spots that are still up for grabs, and you want some young guys to take that next step this summer and grab those starting spots?
Well, an area that I definitely think is a strength for us is our skill positions. From quarterback, running back, DBs, receivers, we have skill for days. Areas that I feel like are up for grab and that we can definitely have some more depth in are the trenches, the O&D line. I mean, you can never have enough linemen, whether it's offensive or defensive linemen. So those are the areas that I feel like, are up for grabs, and we just need to make sure that we, get some quality depth and guys fight for some positions. But our skill positions are phenomenal, and so that's going to, be the strong point of our team.
All right, final question for you, Coach. Your on-campus stadium, Hall Stadium, is going to be back up and running this year. I know Fort Bend ISD made some upgrades during last season, so you guys are back. Games will be back at Hall Stadium. So if I come to Hall Stadium and I cover a game watching the Hurricanes, where do I need to grab pregame meal at? What's the Coach Anthony recommendation over there?
So 2 places. One place that I know for sure is Cane's Chicken. Cane's, I
heard your picture might be on the wall there. That's the rumor. How'd you get your picture on the wall?
Well, it says hometown hero, so
okay.
That's.
It wasn't from eating the most chicken strips.
No, it wasn't nothing like that. I earned that on the field, to get that spot. But another place that I haven't personally been to, but everybody's been raving about, is called Swamp Chicken.
Swamp Chicken?
Yeah, on Highway 6. So check that out as well. But you got Cane's and then Swamp Chicken on Highway 6. So
I may check out Swamp Chicken. All right, Coach. Well, enjoy watching your kids compete today, and we appreciate what you do for student athletes in the state of Texas.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it.
Here's Cornelius Anthony, the head coach of the Fort Bend Hightower Hurricanes, caught up with Matt Stepp at the state qualifying tournament this weekend. They qualified. They'll be there. We'll get to see him again. We'll have to remember not to interview him because we already interviewed him.
That's fair.
But we'll just make that list. Anyway, we appreciate his time earlier this weekend. Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment, Final Thoughts.
Did you know that the boys state golf tournament is happening in Kingsland, Texas, like my actual hometown?
No.
Yeah. And
Wow.
my cousin's playing in it.
Well, that doesn't seem very fair because she's got home course advantage. He's got home course. I assume all your cousins are chicken.
That's fair. No, this is on the other side of the family. The only cousin I have on the other side of the family, but he qualified for state.
Nice. So he's got home course advantage.
He doesn't ever play at that course, but yes, I mean from a driving perspective, it's 20 minutes down the road.
Right. See, that seems unfair. I'm
So
gonna write a letter to the UIL about this.
Yeah, shout out to the Marble Falls Mustangs. Go out there and win the darn thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to Cornelius Anthony of Fort Bend Hightower for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please can meet your Player of the Year trophy. We will see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.